Mariners today. Well, I'm all alone right now, but I'm going to have a cast of thousands. Tom Brennan will be along. Ron Sands will be along. Larry Hines will be along. And even Steve Stone, resting and ailing back, is going to be with us. Now, this is a funny story about Steve. Here's a guy making nothing but millions and millions of dollars with his various professional business ventures, but he doesn't have a cable in his home. So he has to listen to the game on radio, but we're going to be talking to him once we start the telecast of the ball game. Another beautiful, beautiful day. There's going to be another sellout crowd. And the Cubbies, how about them Cubbies? They're only 7-1, 7-2. They won a doubleheader yesterday. Both of their squads won one-run ball games. And the one that was decided here on this field at Hohokam Park, they came from behind with 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth to win the ball game. Well, stay with us now. I know you're going to enjoy the second telecast of this young spring as the Cubs face the Seattle Mariners. Hello again, everybody. Harry Caray from Ward Patterson Field in Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona, the training base of the Chicago Cubs who face the Seattle Mariners today. The lineups for today's game: for Seattle, Rich Amaral is the shortstop. Tony Manahan at second base. Probably one of the greatest players in the game today, might be one of the greatest of all time, Ken Griffey Jr. He's 5 years in the major league. He's already in 5 years hit 132 home runs. He's batted in 453 runs and has a 5-year lifetime average of 303. How much better than that could you get? Griffey batting third, playing center. Eric Anthony, former National Leaguer, now in left field for Seattle. Tino Martinez at first base. Lee Tinsley in right field. Mike Blowers at third base. Bill Hasselman behind the plate. And Chris Bosio, veteran right-hander, pitched a no-hit, no-run game last year for Seattle, will be on the mound. A good day, a capacity crowd on hand. Now the Cub defense against this lineup, which I've just given you. In left field, Glanville. Rhodes in center. Roberson in right, presented by Montague and Bouchel at third. Dunston at short, Vizcaino at second. Franco at first. Willie Banks, who was with Minneapolis the last couple of years, is on the hill. And Rick Wilkins, who hit his first home run of the spring, is the catcher. The umpires are Gary Darling behind the plate, Ed Montague at first, Bob Davidson at second, and Tim Tashida at third. You know, we've told you about Steve Stone not being with us the first couple of weeks because of a operation on his back. We have him on the telephone. You'll hear him now in a moment. Steve, how are you feeling?
Well, Harry, everything is going very, very good. Have a doctor's appointment on Monday. Hopefully he'll give me the go-ahead to get out of the house, which I haven't been able to do since the surgery about a week and a half ago. But other than that, I'm feeling good, and I'm just really anxious to get back and start calling some tough games. It looks like a great spring so far.
Yes, it certainly is. And this ball club from 1 through 8 in the batting order is going to be an outstanding ball club. And, of course, the only question mark is pitching. And that question mark may be resolved today if Willie Banks comes up with a good performance. Steve, you're an athletic sort of a guy who plays a lot of golf, takes good care of himself. What in the world should do to your back?
Well, I think pitching 20-some years, Harry, had a lot to do with it, along with racquetball and golf. I just think that sometimes you have the disc problem that wears away, and there's not much you can do to protect it. I think nowadays they have a lot of back exercises. I know the Cubs are going through a lot of back strengthening exercises. So it wasn't any one thing that I did. It was just what I like to call a Lifetime Achievement Award, and there was 3 discs involved. The surgeon down here, Volkar Suntag, did the surgery, and I think it's going to be 100%.
Well, I certainly hope so, Steve, but I'm just thinking, You should have been going with me where I was going instead of going to work out every day.
Well, I know you haven't had any back surgery, so whatever you did, it must be working.
Hey, and that's for 50 years, too, Steve, you know.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. But, you know, Harry, you're right about Willie Banks. This is a lot of Cubs fans are really eagerly waiting for him to throw some baseballs this spring. And so this is a day that a lot of people look forward to. It's going to be good to see him. Apparently, he's got a great arm.
Steve, I didn't hear the closing end of that. They acknowledged me over the PA, and I had to stand up to wave at him.
I was just talking about Willie Banks and the fact that everybody feels he's got a great arm, and this is a big outing. I know he had some tenderness in the arm this spring, and so everybody pretty excited about finally seeing Willie go to the mound.
You know, you're probably the only man in the entire Phoenix area, and I'm including Tempe and Mesa and everywhere else, who doesn't have a cable in his home. What happened?
Well, you know, Arnie Harris and I discussed it, Harry, and because I'm here only in the wintertime and spend so much time at the library over the winters, I just didn't need another excuse to stay around the house, so decided to go against the cable. I do have it in Chicago during the baseball season, but haven't been able to arrange the cable down here yet. But we're working on that. You know, that's coming along, I think, maybe next year.
All right, here's Banks missing the plate on the first two pitches. 2 balls, no strikes. Rich Amaral, the shortstop at the plate. A little cloudy all of a sudden, but delightful. Temperature in the high 70s, I would imagine. Great weather here in Arizona this spring. There's a good fastball. Banks comes right over the top, Steve.
Well, apparently, Harry, from what everybody said, from the time he was drafted #1, the Twins felt he was going to be a big winner, and the Cubs and Larry Himes feel the same way. They think that maybe he could just be hitting his stride.
Yeah, but I've heard from baseball men in both leagues who've seen Willie Banks, and they say he's a great pitcher if he can get the ball over the plate. And how many times have you and I heard baseball men say that about a lot of pitchers who never became great?
It's the biggest if in the ball game, and hopefully he can find his control here. And you know, from what I heard about Mo Grabowski, he's helping some of these young pitchers, and maybe he can do some good with Willie Banks.
So Amaral has walked, and there's a runner on first, and here's Tony Manahan, M-A-N-A-H-A-N. It sounds a little bit like Shanahan, who's our assistant DA up here. What's your first name? Doris Shanahan. Where are you going St. Patty's night? If you don't have anything to do, I'll be glad to take you out. Craig Harris is celebrating a birthday, and he's going to be in Chicago, I guess. He'll probably be at Harry Caray's, either in Wheeling or downtown. There goes a runner, and Rick Wilkins cannot handle the pitch because it was a difficult one to handle. And Willie Banks, I'm sure, is pressing a little bit. But this is a book on him now. You've heard all the good things, and I had to throw in the bad thing. He's got to prove he can get the ball over for a strike.
Harry, with the split squad and half the team being in Las Vegas, how did you keep Arnie Harris in Mesa?
I think WGN did that. Now the pitch. Banks throws hard. The ground ball. Nice play by Bouchel. Throws the first. And if Amaral had not stolen second, that would have been a perfect double play ball. So now there's one away. Runner's still at second base as Bouchel threw out Manahan, and here he is. Ken Griffey, only 24 years old. Amazing. In his 5 full years in the major leagues with Seattle, he has a lifetime average of .303. He's hit 132 home runs. That's almost averaging 30 a season. And he's driven in 453 runs. A classic left-hand hitter. Good fastball, strike.
Harry, would you liken him to Barry Bonds?
Well, I tell you, it's hard to believe he could be better than Barry Bonds, but you'd be amazed, Steve, how many people think he is. Certainly around Seattle, you can't tell them that Barry Bonds is better than this kid. And of course, he's got a few years in age. He's only 24, and already has had 5 seasons playing regularly, as those statistics I gave you would indicate. 1 out, 1 on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ken Griffey. His dad was a left-hand hitter too, but his dad wasn't as tall as Junior is. And there's Lou Piniella. And among those who rave about this kid, I had dinner with Lou Piniella at Timothy's the other night, and he really can't say enough about this boy. He says he's just absolutely awesome. 1 out, 1 on. And a good cut. Boy, that was an off-speed pitch. And that ball kind of dipped down, Steve.
Well, Willie Banks has had a problem with the off-speed pitch, Harry, and if he can come up with one that can really help take some hitters off that fastball, I think he's going to be in pretty good shape. So the fact that he's getting it over, especially to Griffey, is a good sign.
He has to get over to Griffey, or he's going to be hurt. Here's the pitch. Fastball high and inside. And maybe he's setting the table for that same pitch he fooled him on a moment ago.
Does it look like he's popping the ball pretty good, Harry?
Yeah, he's throwing hard. There's no doubt about the fact that he can throw hard enough. They say over 90 miles an hour. 2-2 pitch. High pop fly. Ought to be caught. Vizcaíno back. They allow Kevin Robertson to make the catch. Robertson coming into the ball, kept yelling for it, and Vizcaíno gave way to him. 2 away.
Harry, everybody's so interested about Sean Dunston. How has he looked to you this spring?
Well, I tell you, if anybody ever thought that there was a chance Dunston might be traded, I think you could forget about that. There's no way you can trade a guy who has been as great in spring training as he has been. He plays, he's played, he's run, he's hit, he throws, he covers the ground. He really looks sensational. 2 out. Here's Eric Anthony. We remember him with Houston. He hit one of the longest home runs ever hit at the Dome Stadium there in the Astrodome. 1 strike and nothing, 2 out. Sky's a little cloudy. Steve, you've had perfect weather for the ball clubs here.
Yeah, we've actually had the best weather in the country, Harry, so the work that the guys have gotten in has to be as good as any spring they've ever had. Now the Cubs have worked very hard this spring under Tom Trebelhorn.
Of course, I don't know how you would know about the weather unless you just looked outside.
I take a good look every day.
I know how tickled to death you're going to be when you can start walking around outside. I know you're doing it in your apartment. How's your mom and dad, by the way?
Oh, everything is going good, and they've been wonderful. It's been just great to have them around.
What are parents for?
That's it.
Fastball low and away. Eric Anthony and Rick Wilkins. Wilkins, of course, coming out of a sensational year. Easy. I guess they're figuring on him catching about 130 games, which means he'll only miss about 32. So hold everything, hope that he doesn't get hurt. It's a long jump down from Wilkins to the next catcher.
No, he's really your horse behind the plate.
Pitch high and inside. But we know, Steve, that horses get hurt too.
Yeah, this is a guy that they've got to keep healthy.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, a runner at second. Banks bounces and foul. Well, if Banks can pitch as well as Ernie Banks hit, the Cubs will be lucky indeed this year. Well, let's see what happened. The catcher interfered with Anthony's bat, so he reaches first base on Rick Wilkins' interference. Watch it. Yeah, right there. All right, runners are on. And here's Tino Martinez. Here's a good hitting first baseman, left-hand hitter. Fastball is low. Martinez stands 6'2", bats left-handed, throws right-handed. He's only 25 years old. He had 17 home runs for the Mariners last year. 2 balls, no strikes. Now Banks, as I mentioned before, pitches right over the top. They are hoping that with the several years experience he's had with the Twins, so often pitchers, it takes them a while to find their control. There's a bouncing ball. That'll be easy to retire the side. Fourth play. So, 2 men left, no hits. We go in the bottom of the first, no score. With a double. Paul Rhodes doubles to left center. Eric Anthony had a little trouble making the fielding play.
Harry, from what you've seen, is Rhodes going to be able to play center field defensively?
Well, he looks, we haven't seen that much of him with these split squad games, but he certainly looks like he's able. And as long as he leads off as well as he's been doing, he'll be playing center field.
Well, the Cubs are going to score some runs this year. They got some bats.
Here's this Caino bunting foul. And I tell you, they have a relaxed attitude this spring. I don't know what causes it. And they seem to, it seems to be a team that knows it's going to get a lot of runs. And a team that apparently has much more confidence in their pitching than members of the media have. And that includes broadcasters as well as newspaper men.
Everybody tells me that Bullinger and Plesac are both throwing the ball exceptionally well out of the bullpen.
Yes, they've looked good. Bosky's had his troubles, though. A runner on at second base. Nobody out. Vizcaíno. Maggio. There's a bunt. The only play will be to first base. A sacrifice in the first inning from Maggio to Manahan. And here's Matt Franco. Maggio last year, won 9, lost 9. He had a no-hit, no-run game. He was with Milwaukee for a number of years. The best year he had in the big leagues in victories was 15 with the Brewers in '89. Here's Franco. Here's the guys look very good. A first baseman, left-hand hitter. If he were a first baseman and a right-hand hitter, he'd have a better chance of making the ball club. But Eduardo Zambrano has been looking good. A right-hand hitter, and he's been playing first base with Mark Grace nursing a left shoulder problem. It seems to be well on its way to being taken care of. Steve Buechele will be next. Runner at third. Cubs trying to break out in front. Maggio. He's a big guy too, Steve.
Maggio throws pretty well, Harry. I mean, they spent a lot of money to get him from Milwaukee, and had some physical problems since coming to Seattle. But if he's healthy, you know, Seattle's got a good chance of winning their division.
Yes, they do. Lou Piniella is very optimistic about it. He thinks they're a closing pitcher from doing it. Somebody to finish up games. For example, yesterday, the Cubs scored four runs in the bottom of the ninth with nobody out and won the ball game 6-5.
Well, we saw young Bobby Ayala when he was with Cincinnati, and that's one of the guys that Lou Piniella is hoping that can step forward out of the Mariner bullpen and be a stopper. He hasn't shown it yet, but he showed the Cubs a couple times a pretty good arm.
There's a pitch swung on a drive. Way back, going to be caught. And Ken Griffey has it, and walking in is Dusty Rhodes. 1-0 in favor of the Cubs.
Harry, with the bunt in the first inning, and it's got the Cubs to run because of moving Rhodes to third, do you think Tom Trebelhorn is going to be a little more aggressive this whole year than Jim Lefevre was most of last year?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I think we've already seen more hit and runs in about 8 or 9 exhibition games we saw the last year. So Trebelhorn does play a running game. Here's Buechele, who looks very good, has no injuries bothering him as he had last year, so he's looking forward to a great season. 1-0 Cubs. Low and outside. 2 out, a run in. Buechele. Dusty Rhodes started the ball game with a double to left center. Bouncing ball foul. Vizcaíno sacrificed him to third, and Franco with a drive to left center, right center, handled by Griffey, scored after the catch. You feel tired at all, Steve?
Excuse me, Harry?
You feel tired?
I really don't. The other day I walked 3 miles and did about 18-minute miles, so I've been walking every day, and I really feel pretty good. The back feels good. Still a little leg pain, but that's to be expected. But outside of that, everything is just 100%. I know I have a rehab ahead of me, so I'm anxious to get the go-ahead to start doing that.
Struck him out, Dan Neely. Well, listen, I'm not going to impose on you too long, Steve. Thanks very much, and we're looking forward to seeing you join us as soon as possible. Remember one thing. Be sure to do exactly what your doctor tells you to do. You know, Sean Dunston had a back problem, too. He's been 2 years without playing hardly at all. So you want to recover as quickly as you can. Do what your doctor tells you to do, and we'll see you soon.
Well, bring him home this spring, Harry, and I'll talk to you a little later.
Okay, buddy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll be back now in a moment. And we've had Steve Stone on. Here's the first pitch to Tinley. Bounces it. Franco has it. Nice play over to Banks for the out. One away. Well, how has Banks looked to you?
Well, he looks pretty good so far. You know, he's been on a slow program here, and they said they just want to take their time and a little strength program. You know, last year he pitched 174 innings, 11 and 12, and it's going to take a little bit to adapt to the National League, but I sure like the velocity on his fastball.
One man out, nobody on. Here's Blowers, the first pitch to one hopper. Dunston has it. Over to first, easy out. How are you going to keep that guy out of the ball game?
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. Sean Dunston is kind of cute. You know, Mark Grace has not been playing first base because of the shoulder injury. But it seems like every time if it's Matt Franco who's ever on first, Zambrano, Dunston's been throwing about belt high. It's just when Grace is there, he throws it in the dirt.
2 men out. Here's Bill Hasselman, the catcher. There you see Sean Dunston. Greetings to John and Joyce Hamilton from Park Ridge who are here today. There's a strike call. And I stopped in at the Chicago Sports Bar on Scottsdale Road here the other day. Boy, what a Cub hangout. And what a great bunch of fans over there. And Barbara, who's the owner's wife, was behind the bar. And we all had a good time talking about the Cubs in 1994. Hasselman takes it. Hey, there was a good curveball. Boy, that reminded me of Carl Erskine of the old Brooklyn Dodgers. The way that curveball broke. We go to the bottom in a second. The Cubs lead 1-0. So, as we go to the bottom of the second, Cubs lead 1-0. Fazio's pitch to Wilkins is in there for a strike call. Great Cub fans, Carol Haddon and Bob Beck watching the ball game here today. Here's a pitch swung and miss, and here's a couple, Roberta and Tommy. They got a cold can of Budweiser, and they give it to us. This Bud's for you. Well, thank you very much. We'll make sure it's ice cold. There's a pitch a little bit high.
Oh, Wilkins yesterday hit his first home run in spring training, a curveball.
He looks good.
Oh, he looks real good. And behind the plate, you know, he signed a contract that he wasn't happy with, but it hasn't affected him at all on the field. He's all business.
Well, next year he'll probably be making $3 million.
He's going to make a lot of money as long as he stays healthy. Just a fine athlete. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to the first baseman.
Martinez has it, steps on the bag, 1 away. Well, good wishes of my good friend Ben Stein, convalescing back in Chicago. And Ann Langto is here with his grandchildren and his son and his wife, Pat. They're all having a good time, as everybody does here in the Phoenix area. 1 out, nobody on. There's a drive by Robertson. Way back. Might be out of here. It could be. And it is a home run. Holy cow. Robertson hit the first pitch over the 410-foot mark in straightaway center field. How about them Cubbies?
Well, I'll tell you something. That ball was really hit the dead center field, and Robertson, of course, very strong, power from both sides. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to take a look at this again, but it looked like a fastball that was running away from him, and he just hooked it. And boy, he got all of it. That ball just sailed over the wall.
And the Cubs have been hitting the long ball all spring long. Here's Sean Dunston, who's hit 2 homers already. 2-0 in favor of the Cubs.
There's
Kevin.
Yeah.
He now makes his home here in the Phoenix area. 1 out, 1 in.
Well, he's trying to make this ball club, and if he keeps doing that, he's got a great chance. You know, we're looking for somebody to come off that bench.
Yeah.
And especially a left-handed hitter and with power.
There's a pitch a little bit outside. I think that Zambrano is going to be on this ball club because of the fact he does hit right-handed. Kevin Robertson hits both ways, but I think his better side is his left side.
Well, you know what? I also feel like they feel Kevin Robertson is the type of player that has to play every day.
Good Cup. Watch his swing on the home run.
Well, that's what they're talking about, you know, when you talk about getting the head of the bat out there in front of the plate and getting that top hand on that ball. I mean, it's unbelievable. He just got right on top of that ball. You look at swings today and you see some uppercut swings. Well, you know, a lot of fans think a level swing is when you swing under it. It's coming from the top and down on the ball.
There's a fly ball, short left field, going to drop, base hit. And Benson continues. His robust hitting with a single to left, and that brings up Doug Glanville, playing left field today. You know, the other squad, the Cubs have a split squad. The Tom Trebelhorn, the managers, with the other group. Tony Muser is managing here today. Trebelhorn and the other group will play in Las Vegas tonight and tomorrow, and then be back here Monday. Robert Craig, a great Cub fan, is watching the ball game in Oklahoma City. I was in your neighborhood last night in the Upper Rent District in Paradise Valley. I was at the El Chorro, one of my favorite hangouts. Joe Miller and his wife, who owned the place, were there. There's a high fly ball going to be caught. Anthony's under it, makes the catch. 2 gone.
Yeah, I've eaten at the El Chorro quite a few times. Very fine place.
Good play.
Now here's, you know, you talk about a good athlete, Willie Banks. I watched him take hitting today, Harry. Took a couple out of the ballpark. I mean, he takes a rip at that ball.
Well, he's in the right league now then. If he can hit, he'll help himself win ball games.
Well, he's
because
aggressive.
in the National League, the pitchers hit. In the American League, they don't.
Yes.
Lou Piniella. Not only a good hitter, fine manager. There goes a runner, swung on. There's a high pop foul. Might be caught in the foul. Wow, did he catch it? Boy, oh boy.
Boy, he ran into it.
Could have been badly hurt, but he's okay.
Well, he was running hard, and he didn't realize that fence was right there and ran right into it.
talking about the split squad with the other guys over in Las Vegas. Keith Gebele from Harris in Las Vegas watching the ball game here today. And I wonder how my good friend Bill Sullivan is doing. I got to go over there next week after the game next Sunday for the NAB convention.
Yeah, you're being honored.
Yeah, it's a pretty big honor, that one.
It sure is.
There goes a runner, swung on, the bouncing ball might get through. It does. Here comes the runner who is starting on the pitch, going all the way to third. Dunston breaking through second. Landell bounce the ball on the ground, and we have runners at first and third.
Yeah, it looked like Blowers had a chance to get that ball, and he just kind of gave up on it. If he would have stretched out a little bit, he could have came up with that ball. In the meantime, it goes in the hole. You don't want to give up on a ball like that. That ball wasn't hit that hard. He looked like he got a pretty good jump, but he thought maybe Amaral was going to make the play. But you got to take anything you can get there at third base.
Here now is Dusty Rhodes, who started the ball game with a double to left center and scored the first run. Then Kevin Roberson in this inning is homered. Cubs lead 2-0. Runners at first and third, 2 away. Good fastball. They hear from Artists of the World. James LaFond, Tom Blakowski, Cub fans. Pitch inside. You know that El Charro reminds me of a place in St. Louis called Bush's Grove. There they have a lot of cottages outside, you know, where people sit during the summer. Pitch inside. El Charro has a dining room outside as well as inside, big fireplaces. It's almost like a private club, but they cater to the public, and it's really a lovely place. Swung, and he struck him out. Rhodes goes down swinging. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 left. At the end of 2-0 Cubs. ...30 or more home runs this year like you did a year ago. Does that put pressure on you?
Yeah, it sure does. You know, I don't want to go out there and make predictions on what kind of a year I'm going to have. Last year was a great season for me. It was an offensive year that only 6 catchers have ever had in the history of baseball. So I'm not going to say I'm going to go out and give you that kind of performance offensively every year. But what I will say is I'm going to go out there and give you the defensive performance that I gave you last year. I'll do that for you every year. And I'm going to go out there and swing the bat. I know I'm capable of doing it again, but like I said, I'm not going to predict that it's going to happen. I'm just going to go out there and swing the bat and let things happen.
Fazio hits a high hopper, and Buechele throws him out. 1 gone. You know, Rick Wilkins has the confidence of having had a great year in the major league. And I think now he's ready to take over as the best catcher in baseball.
Well, I'll tell you something, Harry. You know, last year at the beginning of the season, he was hitting about $150 for the first month and a half. So he experienced a little bit of failure there, and all of a sudden turned things around. And this interview you had with him, and just like you said, I've got the confidence. I know I can do that again. And I believe with his swing, he's got one of the best compact swings in baseball. And I think he'll hit anywhere from 20 to 30 home runs.
There's a looper. Hey! Nice play by Kevin Roberson to rob Rich Amaral of a base hit. Watch this play again.
Now that was a fastball right on the outside part of the plate. Goes the other way with it. And Roberson got a very good jump on that ball and just reached down about ankle high and made a very fine play. You know, Roby's had a little problems in the outfield this spring so far, but that was a fantastic play. He's a very good all-around player. Last year came off a herniated disc. This year he's feeling really good. His arm's better, his speed's better.
2 and out, nobody on. Dave Niehaus does the Seattle games along with my grandson, Chip Caray, who's not here today because he's still involved with the Orlando Magic basketball team. And so he's missing a game today. They played last night, I believe, or are playing today. But Dave Niehaus has been around a long time, a wonderful guy and a fine broadcaster, has a daughter in Chicago, Greta Niehaus. And he wants to send along a message. Greta, your dad sends his love to you. Greta Niehaus, now living in Chicago, daughter of Dave Niehaus, the fine broadcaster of the Seattle Mariners. 2 men out, nobody on. Well, here's the Aflac trivia question. Which major league player was the toughest to strike out last year? Well, I got to think about that. For a while, it was Mark Grace. I don't know whether he finished up that way.
I'm gonna go with Wade Boggs.
Well, I'm gonna go then. I still think it was Mark Grace, but in the event he struck out too many times the last few times up, I'll take Felix Fermin. Two guesses are better than one. Two in a round.
You know, so far, Willie Banks has been breezing along his first debut with the Chicago Cubs. And what I've been impressed with is not just his fastball. We know he throws a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's been his changeup and curveball.
Yeah, there's the pitch a little bit low and inside. The only negative thing I've heard about him is the fact that he's wild. You got to get the ball over. If he's conquered that, and sometime after a couple of years in the league, you control that problem, he's going to be a good pitcher. And so, Manahan goes down swinging. 1, 2, 3. He has struck out 2. Hasn't allowed a hit. And we go in the bottom of the third. Cubs leading 2-0. Ron Santo, here's the first pitch of Vizcaíno, and he fouls it off. Bosio on the hill. Boy, Banks was outstanding. He made only 32 pitches. He allowed a base runner on a walk and on interference by the catcher on another man. And he pitched very, very impressively. And it's good news for Cub fans who badly need their pitching to come through. There's Vizcaíno, a high pop fly. Lower under the ball, makes the catch. 1 away.
You know, we're counting on Willie Banks, of course. Our number 1 pitcher is going to be Mike Morgan, along with Jose Guzman, Willie Banks, and Steve Traxel. We're still waiting to find a number 5 starter. And, of course, we lost 25 games last year, giving up Greg Hibbert and also Mike Harkey, so we got to make up the difference.
Pitch a little bit low. 4th generation of Cub fans from Russia. No, not that Russia. Russia, Ohio. The Borchers are here. Here's another pop foul back. The catcher, Hasselman, can't reach it. Into the stand. Matt Franco drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the first. So Willie Banks is through for the day. He's going to be replaced next inning by Amaury Telemaco. There's a hot shot foul. Here's the answer on Aflac. Well,
you were right on the second guess.
Yeah, that's hardly all right. Everybody else is favoring Bobo, but me, he deprecates it even when I'm right. Here's a line drive to right. Base hit. Franco. How are you going to keep him down the minor leagues? He looks good.
Well, I've been taunting him all spring. I really like his bat quite a bit. You know, he's just a good left-handed hitter. Makes contact, stays back on the ball. I mentioned this last week. And when I talk about staying back on the ball, pitchers realize that when a hitter's a little bit anxious, he'll get out in his front foot. And pitchers notice that, so they'll throw him more off-speed pitches. But this guy stays right back, goes with all the pitches. That pitch right there was a breaking ball down and in, and he took it right into right field. I don't know if he's going to make this ball club, but I'll guarantee you, if there's an injury, he'll be called up right away, because he's the type of guy that can come off that bench and do the job for you.
Well, this cast of thousands moves to Tom Brenneman at the end of this half inning. There goes a runner, a bouncing ball. The shortstop has it, throws the first, and Buechele is retired. Amaral to Martinez. And again, the Cubs moving their runners. Tony Muser is managing the team today instead of Tom Trebelhorn.
Right, but still, this is the philosophy of Tom Trebelhorn. He said we're going to be aggressive this year on the base pass. And there again, a very bad pitch, but Buechele protecting that runner. It looked like a breaking ball, maybe down and away, and he just flung the bat at it and hit the ball on the ground and benching the runner. Now Wilkins a chance to drive him in.
Yeah, but Buechele has power. I don't know whether that's such a good hit-and-run guy. Yeah, I'd take a chance on him getting an extra base hit.
Well, Harry, I'll tell you something. I also think that he is a good hit-and-run because he'll go to all fields. Buechele isn't the kind of guy that just pulls the ball, so it's not a bad idea.
Ground ball to the shortstop. He fumbles it, picks it up, throws, not in time, an error. Amaral is charged with an error on Wilkins' ground ball. And that brings up Kevin Robertson, who homered over the center field wall his first time up.
Here's the ground ball, and actually all that ball was hit pretty good, and it just took a bad hop at the last minute, noticing that his glove was on the ground, but then that ball just came up and hit him on the wrist. He stayed in front of it, picked it up, but Wilkins runs pretty good.
So with 2 out, 2 on. Cubs with a chance. Robertson at the plate. Wilkins a lead at first. Fastball inside. You know, some baseball men think that Roberson's a good prospect, but that he has a couple of holes in his swing that he can be pitched to. Well, I guess everybody can be.
Everybody can be pitched to, but I think when they talk about
hit by a pitch ball. And Robertson's not happy about that.
Yeah. Well, that just looked like a ball that just got away from Bosio. He tried to keep it down and in. Caught him on the ankle. But when you talk about holes on certain hitters, Robertson last year had a lot of problems with the off-speed pitch, the curveball, but you can work on that. He does have bat speed, and that's the key. He just probably needs a little more experience, seeing a few more curveballs and changeups.
And Sean Dunson up there now with the bases loaded. 2 out, Cubs lead 2-0. Curveball outside. In the bottom of the third, Sean Dunson has 2 homers already this spring. Both hit the same spot.
Sean Dunson is a very happy camper this spring.
He certainly is.
He's just a different personality. And
bouncing ball, bubbled, throws the first. He is out. A fine pickup by Tino Martinez to retire the side. So, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, bases loaded. Left loaded. Larry Caray from Mesa. We're at the end of 3. The Cubs are leading 2-0.
Saturday afternoon, glad you're aboard, and thanks for being with us. Very impressive outing, and the first time we've gotten a look at right-hander Willie Banks. He was on a 40-pitch limit today, ended up throwing 38 of them. 3 innings, no hits, fanned 2 and walked 1. No runs allowed by Banks. So a very strong effort for him, and we look forward to seeing him get a little more stamina and be able to go a little bit longer as the spring progresses. Cubs have a new pitcher, Amari Telemaco. While we have a moment, let's step out for a station ID on the Cubs television network.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
Amari Telemaco to take over for Willie Banks, and the first batter he faces is Ken Griffey Jr. Ball one upstairs. Amari, a 20-year-old right-hander, and another in a long list of native Dominican players. It is absolutely remarkable the number of baseball players that come out of the Dominican Republic. Well, you got to stop and remember here for a moment. The Dominican Republic is no bigger in terms of population than America's smallest state. Yet the percentage of players that make it professionally is just staggering. 2-1 the count. And you see some of the numbers. Very good ERA last season in single-A ball, and again only 20 years young. Griffey Jr. chopping it foul on a count of 2-2. Cubs got a run in the first inning on a double by Rhodes. They bunted him to third. A sac fly RBI by Matt Franco made it 1-0. And then in the second inning, Kevin Roberson blasted one over the wall in dead center for a 2-0 lead. So here we are in the fourth. Griffey Jr. leading it off. And another foul ball. Ken Griffey Jr., at 23 years young last season, an MVP-like campaign. Has a chance to go down as one of the greatest stars in the history of this grand game. Fouled it out of play. I mean, here's a guy at 23 years young that hit 45 home runs last season. 45, knocked in 109, established new Mariner records for runs, total bases, home runs, walks, slugging percentage, and only 23. My, oh my, what a future ahead. And it's in the dirt. Full count now to Griffey Jr. His daddy was a terrific player. Had over 2,000 hits in the major leagues. On a couple of World Series teams in Cincinnati. But his son was given all the talent in the world. And there's Lou Piniella. Louis Victor Piniella, second-year manager with Seattle. High chopper Vizcaíno's way. Griffey Jr. retired. A lot of teams in baseball have been asking about Jose Vizcaíno. He proved last year that he can play every day in the big league at a couple of different positions. Second base, shortstop. But I have a feeling the Cubs aren't letting him get anywhere. He'll be a very valuable man again this season. Eric Anthony is swing and a miss. Lou Piniella said he would expect to get anywhere between 90 and 100 home runs from his outfield this year, with Anthony in left, Griffey Jr. in center, and Jay Buhner in right. That is some serious pop in an outfield. 0-2. Anthony hit 15 last year for Houston, but you have to remember, that's the Astrodome. Seattle, one of the most friendly homer ballparks in either league. Strike three call, terrific breaking ball by Amari Telemaco. Kid looks pretty good. Set him up on an 0-2 pitch. Came back with a hook. See you later. Telemaco, his first strikeout. First two retired for Tino Martinez. He bounced to short with two aboard, ending the first inning. You know, Telemaco, last season we showed you his numbers, wins, losses, ERA. This guy struck out 133 batters in 143 innings and walked only 54. So as he's showing you here in his first inning of work, this guy has very good control. He was a Midwest League All-Star. You better remember his name. It's not easy to say, but we might be doing that on a regular basis in Chicago in the not too distant future. Armory Telemaco, 20-year-old Dominican. And there's a high drive into right field. Roberson near the track and near the wall, and that'll do it. So Telemaco knocks him down in order. 10 straight Mariners have been retired. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Cubs 2, Mariners nothing. A 2-0 lead. Seattle still looking for its first hit. Chris Bosio started it. He's still in there now as we begin the last of the fourth. Glanville, Telemaco, and then Carl Rhodes due up in the inning. Glanville looks at a strike. Glanville, former #1 pick out of the University of Pennsylvania. Strike 2 from Bosio. Glanville, not a real big guy. He's taller than you might think from that picture right there, but almost rail thin. Swung on and fouled out of play. Has a body in a lot of regards like Delino DeShields. Glanville a little taller than the former Montreal turned Dodgers second baseman. But I tell you what, Delino DeShields, for a guy as thin as he is so strong. He's got some pop in that bat. Speaking of strong, take a look at Bosio. Here's a wind and the 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging on the hook. You got to figure if Bosio stays healthy, which he was unable to do last year. In April, he was named the American League Player of the Week, and then his next start, he broke his collarbone. Was never the same again. But if he's healthy to go with arguably the best pitcher in the American League, and Randy Johnson. Of course, Jack McDowell fans would certainly argue that point vehemently as Telemaco swings and misses. But you have Johnson, you have Bosio, Dave Fleming, terrific young left-hander, and former Cub Greg Hibbert, who won 15. It's not too bad in a very weak American League West. Both Western divisions appear to be the weakest divisions in both leagues. Yeah, you have the Giants in the National League West, won 103 games last year, only to be a runner-up to Atlanta. The Dodgers have a chance to be very good. You don't figure much from second-year team Colorado and the rebuilding San Diego Padres. Telemaco, a little roller down to second base, 2 away. Speaking of the Rockies under Don Baylor, we'll see them next weekend. That'll be Sunday. So make sure you mark it down. Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock Central Time. Look forward to support. How about some of the additions that Bob Gebhardt, Don Baylor and company have made? Also re-signing their own free agent, National League batting champ Andres Galarraga. But Howard Johnson has come over, among others. They will hit. They hit last year. Get a chance to see our 2 good friends, and the best of friends with one another, in fact. Mike Harkey and Joe Girardi, and our longtime buddy Don Zimmer, still down the third base coach. Carl Rhodes a roller down to first, and a quick 1, 2, 3, 4 for Bosio and the Mariners. We head for the 5th inning in Mesa, Arizona, where lo and behold the sun is starting to shine. Cubs 2, Mariners nothing. Inning made it 1-0, then a solo home run by Kevin Roberson in the second put the Cubs up by a pair. If you're just tuning in, you missed Willie Banks. First time we've seen him this spring. 3 innings of no-hit shutout baseball. Walk 1, fan 2, and the battery walk was the first batter he faced in the game. And a very impressive native of the Dominican Republic, Armory Telemaco, has come on. Retired the Mariners in order in the 4th. This one smoked down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is a home run. Lee Tinsley, a line drive down the right field line, barely clearing the fence at the 345 mark. And Telemaco touched up for the home run by Tinsley. Lead cut in half. It is 2-1. Boy, he hit this ball. The only question was whether it was going to hook foul. You see, it starts out well into fair ground, and then just keeps hooking and hooking, but gone. And the home run by Tinsley. 2-1 ball game. Not a lot of room, however, in that Seattle outfield, as we talked about earlier, with Anthony Griffey Jr. and Jay Buhner in right. That'll bring up Mike Blowers, the third baseman, and he looks at a strike. 1-1. We invite you to join us over on the radio side for Cubs baseball tomorrow. We'll be back here on Channel 9 next Sunday against the Rockies. Count going to 1-2 on Blowers. I've been out here about 3 weeks now, and it has gone by so quickly, and I have a feeling that's the way the next couple of weeks are going to be. And with that being the case, before you know it, opening day will be right at your doorstep. April the 4th, right here on GNTV. The Cubs and the Mets. There's a base hit into center by Blowers. You have to figure Mike Morgan, the opening day starter for the Cubs. And for New York, well, it'll be a guy who has done a number on us for a long, long time. Right-hander Dwight Gooden. Cubs will play 3 games against New York at home to open the season. Play in the Windy City Classic against the White Sox on Thursday the 7th. We'll have that game for you here on Channel 9. And then the Cubs will open the home schedule for Montreal north of the border on April the 8th. That's a Friday afternoon. 3-game series in Montreal, 3 in New York, and then right back home for Atlanta and Houston. Check swing, and he held back. Ball 1 to Bill Hasselman, the Seattle catcher. So a home run by Tinsley to open the 5th. First Seattle hit, first Seattle run. Blowers follows with a single in the center. Cubs in front 2-1. Should be 2. Dunston, Vizcaíno, and it is a double play. 6-4-3 in the book. Coming right at you. Sean Dunston has handled everything flawlessly defensively down here in spring training. And Vizcaíno got plenty of practice on the pivot last year, subbing in for the injured Sandberg. 6-4-3, bases clean, 2 down in the inning. Sean Dunston, hard to put into words as you see him now breaking into that smile we've come to know for these many years. But Dunston so excited about being back and getting a chance to play every day again. Tommy Henzo going to be the pinch hitter for Seattle. Henzo, a left-handed batter, hitting for Bosio, the pitcher. And Telemaco misses outside. Count of 1-1. So Chris Bosio going 4 innings today, allowing 5 hits, couple of runs earned. There's a bouncing ball to Vizcaíno, and the inning is over. 1 run, 2 hits, nobody left. Bottom of the 5th, right around the corner. Cubs leading Seattle 2-1.
My start to the season. I want to be consistent. I want to be better than last year. I wasn't happy at all with the year I have last year. Just want to, like I said, be consistent, have better year, and win some games.
Jose Guzman, his thoughts on the upcoming year. Guzman on the spring is 1-0, has not allowed an earned run in 2 games. 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits. Cubs in front by a run as they bat here in the last of the 5th. And the new pitcher, familiar to those of us in Chicago, right-hander Bobby Thigpen. Little looper down in the left. Going to be caught by Eric Anthony. 1 away. Bobby Thigpen getting a chance perhaps again to become a closer. If there is one hole on this Seattle team, it is that spot. They brought over Norm Charlton. Piniella did. from Cincinnati when he took the Seattle job last year. He was injured, let go. Philadelphia giving him a chance to come back. And now Thigpen may be a chance to become the Mariners' closer. They also like the right-hander acquired in the Brett Boone, Eric Hansen trade from the Reds, Bobby Ayala. But Thigpen, still a major league record when he had 57 saves back in 1990. Matt Franco fouls it away. He's down a couple of strikes. Franco knocked in a run, a sac fly in the first inning. Had a single into left field in the third. Well, for those of you this time of year that are getting juiced up for NCAA college basketball, tomorrow is your day as this Franco rolls one to second base, and there are quickly two gone. Tomorrow's the day the NCAA tournament pairings are announced. Ought to be fun. Everybody getting involved in a pool of some kind, whether it be with friends, family, workmates. Arnie Harris tells me he knows the winner already. He's been telling me that now for 5 years. Buechele, a bouncing ball foul wide of third. I think everybody and his brother either figures it'll be Arkansas, North Carolina, and Arnie says Connecticut. So we'll remember that. I'm going to write that down, because you can rest assured I'm going to call him on it. He picks UConn to win it all. I'm going to go with Carolina to go back-to-back years. Tar Heels starting to play terrific basketball. But there are a lot of teams this year that can do it. Buechele in the hole and short. Amaral fields cleanly. Long throw. Martinez scoops it up and lays on the tag. Boy, Tino Martinez has made two terrific defensive plays over at first in this game. Earlier, he picked one out of the dirt on a rocket from Flowers at third. And here he has to come off the bag, pick it out of the dirt, and then tag the runner. How about that? We go into the sixth with the Cubs leading Seattle 2-1.
On the next World of Nature special, it's chemical warfare in
Shanahan and Griffey Jr. against a new Cub pitcher, John Ratliff. Cubs' second #1 pick in the 1993 draft, went 24th overall. Yes, you might not want one of those where you're watching, but out here, that's a perfect fit. Ratliff deals a strike. Ratliff, 6'5", he attended Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York. 22 years young, and you see his first pro campaign numbers. Went from A-ball then to another team in A-ball. Started in Geneva. Went from there to Daytona. Well, he had a great college career. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-1. Amaral has walked, stolen a base, robbed of a hit on a fine running shoestring grab in right. Back in the third inning by Kevin Roberson. So the third pitcher used today by the Cubs, Willie Banks, 3 innings, no hits, no runs. Fly ball to shallow right, and that ball carrying well into right, and Roberson able to get there. Boy, the ball really does carry here in Arizona. That's the one thing they always talk about in the Pacific Coast League, and Phoenix has always been a team in the Pacific Coast League. They call it the PCL. Well, these guys, they go down and hit all these home runs, and you think, oh, you got to be a great power hitter. You hear particularly about a lot of Dodger guys down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Then they come to the big leagues, and they couldn't swing twice and throw one out of the park. Because the ball really will carry in this region of the country. Telemaco, a couple of innings, 2 hits, 1 run. 2-1 ball game, the Cubs leading. And off the fist and out of play, it goes to 0-2 on Anthony Manahan, who was bounced to third and struck out. It's very nice of my partner over on the radio side, Ron Santo, to fly in and join me here. I've been by myself every inning but one today. I did 3 basketball games Thursday, 2 basketball games last night, fly all day today. Could use a little help. And Ron wants to hang around with Harry for a while. That's okay. I wouldn't expect any different, Ron.
I got a little mixed up there, Tommy, but I'm back here helping you out, big boy, and that's not my fault that you had to do basketball or anything like that.
No, but it is your fault that you're over here late.
That's right.
I'm a little hurt by that. I thought I was like your main guy, your main man. Apparently not. I lose out now with Stoney recovering from back surgery, and Harry's really taken you under his wing. I'm out. Hammered foul. Well, Ronnie, a lot of the fans back in Chicago, Cub fans all over America for that matter, getting a look today like we did for the first time at right-hander Willie Banks. Looked very sharp.
He looked very sharp today. You know, we all knew that he throws about 90 plus, but what I was impressed with was his changeup and his curveball. Very impressive today, and through strikes.
Good pickup there by Matt Franco over at first base on the weak throw from Buechele, who had to charge that ball and get it over there in time. You've done this a time or two.
After this is a ball that you're coming in, you grab it with that glove hand and you get rid of it as quick as you can. And again, that throw was a difficult throw, but he knew the runner could, you know, Amaral could run pretty well. And that's another play, you know, you make it. Probably if you don't make that play, it's an error. But it's a tough throw.
That'll bring up Ken Griffey Jr. Nothing of two. He is fly to right and bounced out to second base. John Ratliff. #1 pick by the Cubs a year ago. They had 2 of them now. Remember that. So they're hoping that it won't be long being a college kid before he can make an impact at the major league level. He'll start out more than likely this year, Ronnie, at Double-A.
Well, you know, what you like, you know, scouts go out and look for. They look for #1, big, strong kids that can throw the ball, because, you know, if you can find somebody in the 88, 89 range, you can teach them to throw that curveball and that changeup.
And that's what they're doing with Ratliff. He knocks down the Mariners 1, 2, 3. Seattle only 2 hits in the game, and the Cubs leading it in a close one, 2-1. Back with more after this timeout. Santo from Mesa, Arizona. Our crew here in the greater Phoenix area would like to send out birthday greetings to friend Jana LaCour watching on today. Hope you're enjoying it. And recovery wishes to Clarence Johnson back in cold Rockford, Illinois. Hope you're doing well. Rick Wilkins, 1-1.
You know, it's warmed up actually in the Chicagoland area. I think it was like 45, 50 degrees. And supposed to be in the 60s next week.
That wouldn't be all bad for opening day come April the 4th. Wilkins lifting one into center, where Lee Tinsley has moved from right into center. And the new right fielder is Keith Mitchell, former Atlanta Brave.
There's been days, Tommy, during my career that opening day we had snow.
Well, I remember the first game we ever did as announcers together back in 1990 had kind of like that freezing rain, the night game opener at Wrigley Field against the Phillies. It eventually was called off.
Right.
Swing and a miss by Roberson. He homered his last time up.
I guess we had a series in Montreal at one time that Arnie recalls, and it's hard for me to recall, but I guess we never left the hotel. That was the old Jerry Park.
Oh, yeah. Snowed out for, what, 3-4 days.
Wow.
1-1 to Roberson. Hit a home run his first time up to dead center, and then Bosio hit him the next time.
Yeah, that's Bosio. Well, he's aggressive. You know, he's an intimidating right-handed pitcher.
Boy, that was a good-looking pitch here from Thigpen. He strikes Roberson out.
You know, Thigpen's hoping to become their stopper. This is what they need. But, you know, from the time when he was with the White Sox, that looked like a changeup inside on Roberson that time, and he was out in front of it a little bit. But I recall him having a little more velocity on that ball, you know, when he had 57 saves that year. And I think he's lost a little velocity.
Saw him with Philadelphia for a brief while last year. And with Norm Charlton gone, as we brought up earlier, Dunston looking at a strike. And now Ted Power having gone down with arm trouble. Thigpen and Bobby Ayala acquired in the Brett Boone, Eric Hansen trade from the Reds. Those two will battle it out.
Well, I like Bobby Ayala because I'll tell you something, he could be a starter. He could go long relief or he could be short relief. He throws very good. He has all the pitches.
And you really have to root for a guy like Thigpen. He's a delightful guy to sit around and just talk to. Dunston hammering that one foul and out of play.
Well, you know, it's hard to tell because it doesn't look like it to me, and even with Philadelphia, they lost much velocity, and his fastball runs in on right-handers, and it's a good sinking fastball. He has a good slider. But, you know, again, Tommy, sometimes you lose that confidence, and this is what the game's all about. That's what happens to a lot of players. They come up to the big leagues, they're successful, and all of a sudden they get a little bit older and they lose their confidence. And that's the whole thing. You know, when you go into a slump, it's not a mechanical slump, it's a mental slump, and that's what you got to come out of.
1-2, and Dunston jammed again. There's that fastball you're talking about, Ronnie. Just barrels into the right-handed hitter. Dunston took one of those from Bosio back in the second inning. Had enough strength to fight it into left field for a base hit. And then robbed of a play. A base hit with the bases loaded ending the third. Not necessarily by Blowers at third, but a great pickup at first by Tino Martinez.
Well, Sean Dunston, that looked like a breaking ball that time. Might have been a slider, curveball, something. Sean Dunston, to me, since coming to big leagues, you talk about everybody's a good fastball hitter, but Dunston's a very good breaking ball hitter. And he has really learned to be a disciplined hitter. He used to go after that bad pitch down and away like most hitters, but now he's just sits back and looks for a pitch that he can drive.
Do you think this will be the year that Dunston puts together not only a great first half or a great second half, but the entire package, the entire year?
Well, you know, that's what he has to do. That's what everybody's been waiting for him to do. He's played a half a season. He usually starts off slow and then comes on strong.
And Dunston got nailed with that pitch. Second time a Cub batter's been hit today. Bosio getting Roberson in the third. And now Dunston flunked by Thigpen here in the sixth.
But Sean's, I think his attitude this spring, Tommy, first of all, he feels healthy. He feels good. And it looks like that couple of years that he's been off, he's anxious to get back and play baseball. And he's got a completely different attitude. And if he's healthy, I think he can put a full year together. He is just a real key player on this ball club this year.
Batter now will be Doug Glanville. Quick throw to first. Dunston back. Hey, did you know that opening day is only a month away? Think about it. A little less than 4 weeks till baseball, sunshine, and good times at Wrigley Field. And there are great seats available for every home game as well. Call and order your tickets now, 312-831-CUBS. Or stop by the Wrigley Field box office. Cubs baseball at Wrigley Field, Ronnie, where everyone plays.
I'll tell you, what a park. And I was fortunate to play there for 14 years.
They even sold your own name brand pizza at Wrigley Field.
Well, it wasn't, you know, it was called Pro's Pizza.
Well, I know, but everybody knew it was Ron Santo Pizza.
Maybe.
Did you make any money off that deal, or did you fall flat?
I did all right, Thomas.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Glanville a swing and a miss. And they're going to call a balk on Thigpen. So forget about that pitch. It'll still be 0-1 to Glanville, and now Dunston will walk on down to second base. But the real question is, on days when you might have had an off day, and I know those were rare, but when you did have an off day, would they ever throw that pizza back at you?
Like a Frisbee. They just come flipping out there at me. And what I did tell me, you know, they fall out there by third base and about a 12-inch piece. It looks like a Frisbee, and
Right.
it tastes like a Frisbee, probably. And I just bring them back in the clubhouse and reheat them and sell them.
There you go. There you go. So you made a ton of money off that Ron Santo pizza. Oh, boy. That's real nice to know. There are people getting sick right now at home.
The first retread pizza.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. 0-2 to Glanville on the ground. Flowers bobbles again. He'll be hung with his second error of the game. Had a tough time picking balls up down there at third base.
Yeah. Flowers had a good year last year, filling in for Edgar Martinez, though. Had 15 home runs, 58 RBIs. This situation where really he was set perfectly. The ball just took a little higher hop, and he must have took his eye off the ball. But one thing about third baseman, you got to stay in front of that ball, because you always have that opportunity. That ball falls right in front of you to grab it up to pick it up with your bare hand and throw out that runner.
Batter going to be Pedro Valdez, an outfielder, and he takes strike one. Cubs are in front of Seattle 2-1, last of the sixth inning. Mostly cloudy day here in Mesa, Arizona, but nonetheless temperatures very comfortable to kick back and enjoy a baseball game, and a lot of folks jam-packed in here to do just that. 0-2 to Valdez. Cubs bringing over a number of minor league players today, because half of the ball club is playing a game today up in Las Vegas. Runners on the corners, 2 down. And that's the inning. Went after a high fastball out of the zone. No runs, no hits, an error, 2 left. Harry coming back in the 7th. And Ron Santo can't wait. He's already moving around in his seat for that 2-1 ball game. Cubs lead the Mariners.
This year, the Des Moines team that won the AAA championship for the Cubs, and now is a coach with the Cubs. I think he lives in Kentucky. I guess all the home folks are watching him right now. We're in the top of the 7th. And Eric Anthony. We have Derek Wallace pitching now for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, this is a very high prospect here. He's in that accelerated group. Throws very hard for a young man.
He's a guy that he was the #1 draft choice.
Yes, he started in A-ball and then moved to AA, and I think he pitched 1 game in AAA last year.
Yeah, he just started 1 game. He's only 22 years old. So you see the Cubs are slowly but surely under Larry Hines and Al Goldus beginning to rebuild their farm system. Here's Wallace getting a called first strike on Anthony, 1 away.
And you know what they're doing here, Harry? You know, they brought the accelerated group with the major league group, and they would work out after the major leaguers, and now they're getting an opportunity to play in a few of these ball games with the split squads, and an opportunity for a lot of the fans to see what kind of talent we have in this minor league.
So Wallace, the 4th pitcher used by the Cubs, throws a fastball outside. Banks went 3 hitless innings. Telemaco, the 20-year-old rookie, pitched 2 innings, allowed 1 run, a homer, 2 hits. There's a bouncing ball. Vizcaíno over the first, easy out. Tino Martinez grounds out. Radlin pitched 1 perfect inning, and Derek Wallace is retired the first 2 men he's faced. We're in the 7th, a fast, snappy ball game. Kamar will be broadcasting on radio only from Peoria, not Peoria, Illinois, where my dear friend Pete Van Aken is, but Peoria, Arizona.
I was just in Peoria for a couple days this week, and I didn't get a chance to see Pete. I was down there with the country companies, and they had a sales meeting there, and signed some autographs and spoke. And the weather was really nice.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't see Pete, though, huh?
I didn't see Pete. I asked if...
I'm glad you didn't. You've never gotten back. Here's a pitch by Wallace. A little bit outside. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 out, nobody on. Top of the 7th. We're in the... Now the pitch. In there, a strike call. Wallace has good form out there.
Oh, he's got not only good form, Harry, he's got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He's a power pitcher. I don't think it's going to take this kid long to get to the big league. He's got some finesse out there.
Ball 4, and Tinsley, who homered for the Seattle's only run, draws the base on balls off Wallace. Sean Botsky limbering up in the bullpen. He's going to replace Wallace. Arlene Gill, secretary to Larry Himes. Her parents are here. Leo and Angie Nycatz. 2 out, runner on at first base. John and Debbie Ferrero enjoying celebrating their 11th wedding anniversary. John, the fine trainer of the Chicago Cubs. Years, isn't that all? They've been married 11 years, the Fieros, and never had a single argument.
No, they never did. In fact, he's building a new home here in Arizona.
He's probably got her building the house. Ooh. There's the throw over to first base. In Vegas, in the top of the 3rd, the Cubs lead the A's 1-0. Turk Wendell pitching for the Cubs, and Steve Carsey pitching for Oakland. 2 fine young pitchers.
And the Cubs, of course, yesterday won a doubleheader. One here against the Mariners, and also in Scottsdale against the Giants.
I was over in Scottsdale watching that.
I was here in Mesa watching.
Here is where the balk has just been called on Wallace. And Tinsley carries now the tying run to second base. And Mike Blowers
Yeah, he just didn't seem to hesitate long enough. And that's got to be a little bit of nervousness out there. And now Wilkins out there to have a little chat with him.
Happy birthday greetings to Tiffany Imke in Pontiac, Illinois. There's Lee Elia next to Lou Padella. Lee, you know, used to manage the Chicago Cubs. He swings and he misses.
I think Lee Elia was one of, I think we've had something like 11 managers in 12 years, something like that. Lee Elia was one of my favorite. I played in the same ball club with Lee Elia, and a tremendous guy and a great competitor. And as we all know, he was very competitive as a manager also, and very verbal.
A little bit low. Great Cub fan looking on, Joyce Armstrong. Two out, a runner in scoring position. Cubs leading 2-1. The pitchers have dominated this game. And see, whenever you have good pitching, it's a boring ball game. When you have a lot of hitting, a lot of runs being scored, well, even though it's not artistically good, it's certainly more enjoyable. Now the pitch. Swung, and he's missed.
Oh, a good hard slider that time by Wallace. But you talk about the Cubs, they've scored a lot of runs this spring, and mainly because of Trevor Horn being so aggressive on those base paths. We scored a couple runs on double steals, a couple squeeze plays. We're hitting and running every game. I mean, you know, you're manufacturing runs. That's going to be an exciting ball club this year.
It certainly is that. And the way Banks look today, Boy, that's a shot in the arm for the pitching staff if he can pitch like that once the season starts. And there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's got a great arm, great stuff. There goes a runner trying to steal, and Blowers goes down swinging. No runs, no hits, one man left. We go in the bottom of the seventh. The Cubs lead 2-1. Be sure to sing. On 2, good and loud. On 3, take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the room for the country. If they don't win, it's a shame. Dial 911. So when they asked him what number he wanted for his uniform, according to Dave Niehaus, he said 911. They said, no, that's a phone number. You can only have 2 numerals on your uniform. And so the only thing he knew about numbers, he saw where he's supposed to throw the ball 96 miles an hour. So he said 96, and that's why he's wearing the number 96 on his uniform. And for that story, you should be thankful to Dave Niehaus, the broadcaster for the Seattle Mariners. Rhodes leading it off. I guess you thought Japanese people are all small. Well, they aren't. This kid's about, how big is he?
He's 6'3".
6'3". And he throws the ball 96 miles an hour. And all the photographers from Japan are here. If Arnie could get a camera to show him.
Yeah, he's got an entourage here.
There's a drive, way back. It might be out of here. No, it's going to be caught up against the right field wall. Tinsley hauled it down. Look at them. All Japanese photographers are here. Boy, it looked like for a moment the Rose is going to hit it out of the ballpark. A good play by Tinsley there. See all the photographers. He's the biggest story in Japan. Matt Suzuki.
Yeah, everybody's heard of him. His nickname is Mac. And also, you know, you're going to go up there looking fastball because you hear the guy throws 96, but he also has a changeup.
There's another high fly ball. Again, hit deep but out. Vizcaíno flies deep to Tinsley in right field. But this ball didn't have the ring off of it that Rhodes' ball. Yeah, that had the sound that it might be a home run. But Tinsley went back and hauled it down against the right field wall.
You know, he's only 18 years old. He's going to be 19, I think, this summer. And it's amazing. When I said he has a changeup, too, he has a pretty good changeup.
Fastball a little bit low. Suzuki spells it S-U-Z-U-K-I. Let's see what that is backward. I-K-U-Z-U-S. Ikuzus. It sounds better backward. Ikuzus. Suzuki. Franco swing, a long drive, deep center field, way back, going back to the wall is Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. hauled down Franco's long drive. 1, 2, 3. At the end of 7th, the Cubs still leading 2-1. Seating at the greatest ballpark in all of baseball. Rent a Cubs mezzanine skybox at beautiful Wrigley Field. Each box includes 15 tickets and 2 parking passes. Plenty of game dates are available. So call this number, 312, that's 312-404, that's 404, 4155, that's 4155, and reserve your skybox date today. All right, who we got hitting here? We got Hasselman. Sasser batting for Hasselman. Sasser who's catching. There's a pitch a little bit low. There's that number again for the skybox, the Wrigley Field, for the whole season. Call that number, 312-404-4155. Strike call. Bosky. He is the 5th Cub pitcher. We're in the 8th. Apparently he's going to finish up. Let's pause here for identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
There's a fly ball hit deep to left field. It's going to wind up foul. You know, after we finished the bottom of the 7th, one of the Japanese reporters stuck a microphone in my face, and he said, "What did you think of Suzuki's pitching?" Well, I said, "I don't know. That's the first I've seen him pitch." I said, "They hit the ball pretty well. 3 balls, well hit for outs. He only made about 5 pitches in the inning." There's a drive foul. Mackie Sasser. He's been with various ball clubs, including the Giants and the Mets and others. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Long drive. Center field will be caught. Mike Carter playing center field now and plays. So Carl Rhodes makes the catch. 1 out. And here is Dale Swaim. Swaim has come in to play 3rd, batting in the pitcher spot. 1 out, nobody on. Top of the 8th. Good fastball, strike call. Hey, we're going along pretty good. Well, I like to say that. Here's a line drive right through on a pickup one right through Steve Buechele. Let's see how they're going to call it. There's a line drive that it's an error. Well, each team now with 2 errors today. That's Buechele's first of the year, I think. We're only in the exhibition season. Cubs are 7-2 for the year. Alex Rodriguez is batting for Amaral. Rodriguez. Right-hand batter. Pitch a little bit in there for a strike call. Rodriguez, an infielder. Right-handed batter, as you see, 1 out. Runner at first on an error. Alex Rodriguez. He didn't play last year. There's a high foul ball being chased by Roberson out of play. Roberson's still in right field. Mike Carter playing center. The Cubs are ahead in Las Vegas, 1-0 at the end of 3. Low outside. Two to 1 in favor of the Chicago Cubs, who've held the Mariners to only 2 hits. Each team 2 errors. 2-5-2 for the Cubs, 1-2-2 for the Mariners. Strike 3 call. A fastball over the outside corner. And Rodriguez is out on strike. I think Rodriguez was looking for a breaking ball and fastball right over the outside corner. Nice bit of catching by Wilkins, who might have made the ball appear that it hit the outside corner. 2 out. Tying run at first. Broadcast time tomorrow, 1:30 Chicago time on WGN Radio from Peoria, Arizona. Against San Diego, I guess. The pitch. Strike call. Toski apparently has gone back to throwing that fastball. He's been working with slow curves the last couple of years. He's always had a good fastball. Low and outside. Crowd quiet. Two more telecasts, baseball telecasts in spring training. Here's a high fly ball. Dunston called for it. He got it to retire the side. So we go in the bottom of the 8th. The Cubs still leading 2-1. Now the general manager of the Chicago Cubs, who's got to be a very happy man the way his young pitchers have looked here today, especially Willie Banks.
Yeah, Willie's come on. He's been really anxious about getting a chance to come out and pitch. And today was a big day for him. He's looking forward to that, and he came out and did a tremendous job for us. Got his changeup over, threw his fastball, got ahead of the counts, and got up to the plate and had a chance to bat. I think he's going to talk as much about that as getting the hitters out.
Well, he could use a couple of runs now to nail it down. Here's Steve Buechele leading it off. 2-1 in favor of the Cubs, bottom of the 8th. You know, it's been a long time that we've seen young pitchers like Telemaco and Wallace and Ratliff, yeah, looks good. They're all 20, 22 years old, and that kind of goes to show what you've been doing the last 3 years.
Well, you know what, we put this CAP program in. This was Al Goldus, and he had this idea of putting a Cubs accelerated program in. So we've had about 30 of these kids down here in Fitch Park since for about the last 3 weeks, and they've had a chance to come up and play in these games, which has been a great experience for them.
Here's a pitch fouled again. Buechele. Nothing on the 3. Made an error, but it didn't hurt. 2-1, bottom of the 8th.
You know, it's nothing like these young kids who come up here and play in these games and really get some great experience coming up here competing against the Griffeys. Like Telemaco's first hitter that he faced was Ken Griffey Jr.
Right. Here's the ground ball foul again. You know, I don't know what it is, but it seems to me everybody's relaxed this year compared to other seasons where they all seem to be nervous about something.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with Tom, and I don't know if he's getting the attention that he should, but he's done a tremendous job as a manager, and he brings that calmness and direction, and organization to the daily work schedule. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. There isn't any confusion.
And Buechele is thrown out at first base.
And Harry, there's been more than one person that's come up and said the same thing, which is nice when you don't have to solicit things like that. And they detect that calmness in the camp, but calmness with the good direction. And the other guy is right here coaching third base for us today is Tony Muser,
Yeah.
who's done a tremendous job for us.
Well, Alex Rodriguez, who pinch hit, now playing short, threw out Buechele. Here's Rick Wilkins. High pop foul. Out of play. Well in the ninth. Ken Griffey Jr. leads it off.
Yeah, he scares me when he comes up to home plate. He just looks like he's going to do some damage.
I don't see Randy Myers getting ready. He must be in Las Vegas. Well, Griffey, he's been replaced in center field. We don't have to worry about Griffey.
That's good.
Now the pitch a little bit low.
You know, Roberson really hit that ball early in the ball game, Harry, with that center field fence. And I looked up, no wind was blowing when that ball went out of here, too. Off Bazio, hit it a ton.
How about the three guys who faced the Japanese youngster? There's the base hit. A smash to right. I think he retired the side on about 4 or 5 pitches, and every ball was hit hard, especially Tuffy Rhodes.
Tuffy hit that ball right on the screws. I was talking to Lou Botella before the game, and he was talking and commenting about the Japanese pitcher, young kid that they have here. He really likes this kid. He thinks he's going to have a chance to stay on their ball club.
So, a runner on at first base, 1 out. Tinsley now playing center field in place of Griffey. Kevin Roberson. Swings, misses. He homered in the second.
Well, Rick really came through last year, had a tremendous season for us, and it's nice to see him get the base hit that he just had just now. And I think the thing that he's going to do, I don't know if he's going to hit 30 home runs, but he's going to have his home runs. But I look at him to be one of the outstanding defensive catchers in all baseball coming into next year.
I think that's the thing you notice here in spring training. He more or less is taking charge of the ball club. I would imagine the fact that Grace hasn't been playing as much as he will.
That's right.
Is open the door for him to more or less become a leader of the ball club.
I think that's it. Sometimes you look back and you say, well, Grace isn't playing and this and that, and you need him in the lineup. But when that happens, other people have opportunities to do things. And I think you're right. I think that brought Rick to the forefront. And I just think with our pitching staff, and I talked to Rick about it at the end of the year last year and this year early in the spring about how important he is to our team, not just offensively, but what he does behind the plate. And last year, I don't know if all of our fans know, but he was the best defensive catcher in the National League last year, throwing runners out. And
threw out about 43% of those who tried to steal.
So he's on his way to having a tremendous career, and we need Rick Wilkins very bad.
Swung and Roberson. That hit a hard foul ball, but now it's fanned and they're 2 away. And here's Dunston. Sean has had 1 out of 2 hit by a pitch ball, bounced out and single.
Well, he's really exciting to watch, Sean Dunston, and what I have seen since spring training, I think I told you about it earlier in the spring, that it looked like he was having some fun playing and doing the things that he always liked to do. And I'm sure these last two years have been very difficult for him, and maybe we all couldn't appreciate him not being out on the field and having fun, but he's having a lot of fun. He's an exciting talent, and he just does a lot of things very easily and very well.
There's a strike call. Tracy and Brian Schwartz wanting to be remembered to their daughters, Christina and Lisa, watching the games in Blacksburg, Virginia. 2 out. A little high.
You know what's been nice to see down here, Harry, is just like in the first inning, if you remember, we scored our 1 run. Tuffy Rhodes gets a double. Vizcaino bunts him over, and sacrifice fly brings in a run. And that run, 1 run, if you get out in front, chances of winning are something like about 70% once you get the lead. So I see that style of play that Tom's bringing to our ball club.
Here's a pitch hit high into the air. Center field, Tinsley under. That's what we've got on the side. And no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. At the end of 8, the Cubs are leading 2-1. The National League, Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and account of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited. Here we go. Here's Keith Mitchell, a cousin of Keith Mitchell, the slugger, used to be with various clubs. I think he's now with the Cincinnati Reds. Keith Mitchell, batting, hitting in the place of Ken Griffey Jr., who was 0 for 3 while he played. Sean Bosky on the hill.
I think we have a change out there at shortstop, Harry.
Yeah,
is that Maxwell playing out there? Dunston
That's not out. Dunston.
No,
he's out of the ball game.
That's a young kid that we just drafted last year.
Here's a base hit in the left center field. And so Keith Mitchell singles to center, and the Mariners start off with a bang. Eric Anthony coming up. Collect all your favorite Cubs players and celebrities on Pepsi Photo Card Day. Saturday, April 16th, the first 30,000 fans attending the Cubs-Braves game will receive a commemorative Mark Grace photo card, compliments of Arby's, WGN-TV, and Pepsi-Cola. For tickets to any game throughout the season, call Ticketmaster at 312-831-CUBS or stop by the Wrigley Field box office.
This hitter here is Mark Newfield. This is their number one draft a couple years ago.
Right, he replaced Anthony Newfield, a right-hand hitter. I'm glad they replaced Anthony with him, although he's a pretty good hitter too.
Big, strong kid out of a high school boy out of Southern California. They drafted a couple years ago, number 1. Has a lot of ability.
Double play ball, baby. Out at second base for 1, over to first, don't play.
That's my young shortstop, Harry. We just brought him in up from, he played rookie ball last year. And I was talking to him before the game. He was excited about getting a chance to play. And it just looked like it was one of those things where it was right there. He had it. And you got to play with some confidence, and he'll get it as he comes along. He's going to be a fine player. Could really run, that kid out there.
Yeah, but you also got to give the young Keith Mitchell credit for taking him right out of the possible double play.
Came right down on Vizcaino. He'll turn him over this time.
Who we got hitting now?
Is this Perkle?
Perkle, the third baseman. The man who replaced Blowers at third. Fastball over the outside corner, strike call.
Well, if Bosky could do that right there, these last 2 pitches, we're going to be in good shape, and that's what we need Sean to do.
Here's a Buick game summary. Roberson hit a home run in the second. Tinsley hit 1 for the Mariners in the 5th. Dunston 6 out of 13 this spring. The Cubs leading 2-1. Your Buick summary. 1 man out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is a key outing for Sean Bosky, too. He's been struggling a little bit.
Right. The last time out, he didn't pitch very well at all. We won the ball game, but he didn't perform very well. So this is nice for him to come out and come right back and do the things we need him to do.
Perko, it's a high hopper. The only play will be the first base. 2 out, but now the tying runs in scoring position.
Yeah, it was a big play right there to move him over. But, you know, when you look back at what Sean did, he came in, he threw 2 ground balls up with a man on first base, and that's what you need your pitcher to do. The first one could have been turned over in double play. That last one was just a high chopper. That's the best we could do on it. Steve got him out going into first base.
Well, here's a game situation. Lee Tinsley, who homered for their only run in the 5th, walked in the 7th, bounced down in the 2nd. A good left-hand hitter with the tying run at second, 2 out, facing the right-handed pitcher, Sean Bosky. And the game's at stake.
Just Jay Bruner on deck.
He's on deck. Bruner's will be a pitch hitter if they get that far. Fastball outside.
This kid looks like a pretty good player here, this Tinsley boy. I've watched him the last couple of days. He does, he has some tools. He can run like that, too.
Jay Bruner, a hard long ball hitter.
Excellent changeup by Bosky right there. And that's what Sean has to do with these left-hand hitters. He got behind on the count. Instead of coming back in with a fastball, which a lot of them look for, came in with a changeup, had him out front. Perfect pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike. Tying run at second. Pitch a little low. Well, how about Northwestern beating Michigan? Can that be right? Providence over Connecticut. Virginia upset Duke. College basketball.
Good.
All right, here we are. Maybe the final pitch of the ball game.
He's thrown him 3 changes in a row.
Tying run at second base. Listen to the crowd. The only thing missing is Randy Myers.
Randy Myers, where are you? Now, I think Sean's going to do a good job.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Whoa! Just barely missed the strike zone.
Hey, trying to sneak a fastball in on him, throwing 3 changes in a row, and then come back with a fastball, just missed. So we got a good 3-2 count here. Harry, I'd throw him a changeup right now, 3-2.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
There it was. Changeup, Harry.
Gwynn. He struck him out, swinging on a change. And Bosky, a very happy young man. And the Cubs have won the ball game 2-1. And they're now 8-2 for the season. And they can play 800 ball during the season. It's a cinch to win.
I think we'll have a chance to do the whole thing, Harry.
We'll be back with a final word in a moment. The Budweiser play of the day is this game-winning home run by Kevin Roberson over the center field wall, 410 feet away. The score was tied 1-1. That made it 2-1, and that's the way the game ended. So truly it was the Budweiser play of the game-winning home run, as the Cubs have beaten the Mariners 2-1. We'll be back in a moment. Shower to be over with in a couple of minutes, and we'll be back with you to bring you all the thrills of today's game between the Rockies and the Cubs.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. The Cubs are brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. True Value Hardware Stores. Got a tough job to do? You can do it with True Value Hardware Stores. Buick and your better Buick dealers, the new symbol for quality in America. By Mountain Dew, those who dare, do. Aflac, insuring over 35 million people worldwide. The Chicago Tribune, Chicagoland's choice for sports daily and Sunday. And by Southwest Airlines. Fly Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart.